Be quiet. That's what's up, y'all. Cool. There you go. That's better. There we go. As soon as I started her live, she started being like that. She wasn't like that before. What? Welcome, everybody.
Right off completely.
What's up, Dagoji? Yo. What's good, y'all? How'd the guy? You guys want to hear the daily quote? Now es que no se juego. So today, out of 365 days of walking the red road, April 18th, oh no don't skate wadonta, or dig don't skate wadonta, the 18th. I said 19th. It's Digionskite Wadonta. But today's quote is by Wovoka Jack Wilson. He said, "You must not hurt anybody or do harm to anyone. You must not fight, but do right always." And he's a Paiute spiritual leader born 1856, died 1932. And did you know one of the most well-known native leaders of Ohio was Chief Tarhe, the Crane? In 1794, Wyandotte leader was involved in the Battle of Fallen Timbers and fought for the rights and land of his people. In the War of 1812, at the age of 70, Tarhe led his warriors into battle. He was known by whites and Indians like as a noble man. Hey, that's what's up. So thanks for listening, and Esconge until we meet again. Now es que no se juego. So today, out of
You know, if you sit.
Woke up this morning, saw one of my videos got 500 views.
What the fuck is going on? Okay, here we go. God damn, am I not live on fucking Facebook? Should be. Am I live on Facebook? I should be fucking live on Facebook. God damn, I'm not even live on Facebook. The fuck? Fuck. You can see me on Facebook? Oh shit, I'm on the wrong Facebook. Yeah, yo, I'm on the wrong Facebook. Okay. Let's get on the right one. Yep, I was on the wrong one. There we go. Okay, we should be good in a second on Facebook. We should be on the right one. Let's get it. We're on the right one, guys. There we go. Let's clear all those. Go right there. Cool. How do you deal with hate from these toxic people? Dude, I deal with hate from my own people, bro. Yeah, bro. I got people from my community keeping tabs on my longhouse attendance. That's our ceremony, yo. Like, it's that kind of jealousy and envy. They don't like how I used to be a bad person. I was a menace to society from the age of 15 to 23. In and out of jail, was just a thug, yo. Gangster. Thought I was. Got, you know, in tons of trouble, and just kept throwing my life away. So I changed my life, and people, uh, you know, don't know. I kind of keep to myself. I mean, they see all this online, but they all think it's all like fake, because I used to do drugs and all that. I used to fucking party, used to fucking drink, you know. Yeah, I mean, everybody did. Everybody has, you know. I'm a grown up. I'm gonna be 30 this year. People change, people grow. Some people don't seem to understand that. People evolve. You know what I mean? People want to judge me from shit that I did when I was like 18 and what? Fucking. I didn't even do anything to anybody. just was just a person associated with bad people, I guess. Did you get AI so you can get sweet revenge? Yeah, bro, I'm not even worried about that, bro. About people doing AI like that to me. It just proved that they have the mind of a homosexual. When they make AI of me twerking and all that, yeah, they got the mind of a homosexual. I look at it and laugh now. At first, yeah, I was fucking pissed, yo. Couldn't stop thinking about it, yo. It pissed me the fuck off, but now, nah, nothing can bother me. I got nerves of steel. I got real thick skin. My ancestors been through worse. So they prepped us for all this shit. So, yeah, dude, they were beaten for trying to speak their language, and now I'm blessed to live in the day and age we live in with access to all this knowledge that we have. Our knowledge is the woke generation because all our elders and their elders were interviewed and written down, got their story down. We get to learn their story. and we get to hear their stories and have so much more. We have so much access to so much more information than our parents and their parents did. You know, the stuff that they know they're now is the stuff that we're learning now. You know what I mean? And and I don't think they see that yet. And I'm not trying to prove my elders wrong. I don't want to prove my elders wrong. I'm not trying to do that. But what I think is we're still dealing with colonization and some people haven't fully decolonized yet. They would call me a radical, actually. They would call me a radical. They believe life started in Africa. You got natives like that. They believe that they come from Siberia. It's like, did you take a DNA test and did it say East Asian or Siberia? Were you 100% Siberian? Right? Like, they take the easy way out, a lot of people, you know? And it's sad because, and it's not even like the people that go to ceremony. I'm not talking about them. It's like people that only a small portion of people go to ceremony. The most tradish people I've ever met don't even go to every ceremony. They gone to ceremony, but you don't see them at every fucking ceremony, yo. The most tradish people I've ever met, yo. Yeah, and you got tradish people that go to every single ceremony too. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is they're trying to judge me off my longhouse attendance, and they don't like me. People in my community don't like me. Some dude wants to smack me, he said. And he's like, "Oh, you still live near the longhouse?" I'm like, dude, don't worry where I fucking live. And yeah, it's like, why do you want to fucking smack me? And it's something dumb, because he says the words that I say get people up in a fuss. Drunk guy. Yeah, yo, and bum. Straight bum. And then another dude, another dude wants to fight me. That's my uncle, my own uncle. Starts rumors about me. Yeah, yo, I got some fucking haters, yo. I got haters that are my own people. My own people be like that. And that's not our way. You're not supposed to hate on your fucking relatives, yo. Especially your own nephew. And I'm not even talking about him. That's not happening today. Today I got some dude that I barely even fucking know commenting on my stuff. Yeah, yo. Corny motherfuckers, yo. Corny. Yeah, it is stupid. Let's see what we got.
You, just you, building your app
See if we got some coffee.
on base 44.
Coffee?
Describe it. And it's real. One thought leads to more thoughts. Layer by layer, taking shape. When you need your tools, bring them in. They just click. Okay.
The producers of this film wish to thank the various individuals, American tribes who help encourage men and making of this film and would have not been possible. There we go.
The earth, the sky, and all the living things which inhabit them were created long ago. The universe began when the Creator breathed light upon the darkness, when the shifting void began to take shape within this light, and the shadows which drifted began to move in direction. The water delivered the land upon the shore. Finally, the people rose from the dark caverns of the inner world and came onto the land.
Okay.
The universe was complete. I'm Cliff Robertson. The first people to come upon this land that we call North America were the American Indians. To them, this land was and is sacred. Sacred ground is the story of the North American Indians' relationship to this land.
He had a Sumerian tablet. A Sumerian fucking tablet. Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce had a Sumerian tablet in his medicine pouch with his tobacco. And it was actually a receipt. It was like this big, a little tablet in his medicine pouch. 4,000-year-old fucking Sumerian tablet, yo. Make that make sense, yo, from the Middle East. The Chief Joseph tablet. A 4,000-year-old Sumerian tablet in his medicine pouch. And it was passed down for generations. And it was a bill of sale for sheep. And it was a 4,000-year-old Sumerian tablet. Come on, yo, make sense of that.
It is the knowledge of my people that we come from the earth. We are on this land as part of the Creator's great vision, that all his living things are to exist in harmony. The tree, the bird, the child, the sun, all have their rightful place upon this ground.
These are your original humans.
To us,
Well, original man and womb man. Like a woman has a womb. Womb man, right? And man. Mankind.
this land cannot be bought or sold.
Whites, blacks, Asians all derive from this original race. Red root race.
It belongs to all who inhabit it. Our life is a cycle. We are born of the earth, and in death return to the earth, joining our ancestors in the spirit world. There are many places across the land that, to my people, are special. At these sacred grounds, the Indian finds, through communication with the ancestors, visions, and meditation, the meaning of his life.
Before the Western man saw this continent, it was a great wild garden filled with trees, grasses, and water. It was inhabited by creatures which leaped and darted among these growing things. Among these inhabitants was the Indian. Although he was as fleet of foot as some, he could not fly like the bird, nor did he have the strength of the greatest of mammals. But he was one among them. His difference was his intellect. He wondered at things which he saw and could not explain. The Indian's ancestors first told the story of the creation, and so it had come to him. The appearance of the universe in which he lives confirms his ancestors' stories. There is an order within the universe. All things behave in relationship to all other things. The Indian himself is but a part of this order. Within this order, the Indian holds the enormous memory of the creation of the cosmos. Within this memory are the images.
Creation of the cosmos. Did you hear that? Native American, we went over yesterday how certain Native American creation stories are telling the whole story of evolution from the first world being small, nobody can speak to each other, everybody's running, it's all dark, everybody's running into each other, no language, it's all fucked up, right? This is when you're a little critter. And then the next world, we're evolving, y'all. Native Americans have that story of evolution.
And symbols of the universe which surrounds them. The Indian found his sacred ground instinctively. Where he built structures upon this ground in response to its sacredness and where these structures remain, we can identify his sacred ground without the aid of legend or myth. The most familiar of all his responses, which are still evident to us, are earthen mounds.
Hey, what up?
Yo, hey, yo, hey, hey. Yo, hey.
These mounds, which took painstaking labor, which required the lifting and shaping of tons of earth, which sometimes took years to complete, were built out of the compelling need of the Indian to honor and communicate with the Great Spirit.
Yo, hey, yo, hey, hey. Yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey.
The sun was the principal object of veneration for the Indian mound builders. There was nothing which was more powerful than this
Look,
heavenly
actual
body.
video of them making the mounds. How'd they get video of them making the mounds way back then?
The chief of the mound cities was brother of the sun. Upon the highest of the mounds, there rose a temple from which the chief conversed with his brother, the sun. Facing east, the chief awaited each day.
So that's what happened. He was talking to his brother. He said, oh yeah, he said he's thirsty for his blood. He wants his blood. He's thirsty for his blood, so the sun said he wants your blood.
When the sun stood on the horizon, the chief would wave his arm east to west, directing the sun on his journey for the day.
I bet you the more you knew about the planets and the stars, the more power you had, too, in the society.
Greatest of all the ancient mound cities was Cahokia, a city of 30,000, as elaborate as an Aztec kingdom. It existed at the place where the Mississippi and the Missouri converged.
No, I just drink Pepsi, bro.
Between 900 AD and 1300 AD, this city prospered and grew under the beneficence of the sun.
Soy five that well. And the cut that well.
These mounds are all that remain of large mound cities which were once inhabited by thousands of people. By 1500 AD, Cahokia had disappeared, while the survivors of a dead city migrated to another ground. Those who were deceased migrated into...
I say millions because it was like 300 million that died from disease, bro. There's more than thousands. What the fuck?
the realm of the ancestors.
Get alive, guys.
Death was the conclusion of one cycle of the Indian's existence. It was essential to the Indian that he bury the dead appropriately so that the dead might make the journey from this existence to the next. The dead were buried with their few but important possessions.
And we just talked about that the other day, how in one of these mounds, these 3,000, 4,000-year-old mound, they found a guy buried with shark teeth from Peru. This is in North America where they found him. And then he was buried with like a fucking spear from fucking Alaska. So, in these mounds. And then that just proves that there was some worldwide trade going on. Well, continents from north to south, actually. And actually, all the highways are actually built on top of 1,000-year-old old moccasin trails. No, can't do that. Segwa, nuh-uh. Damn, my cat's gonna piss me off. She's trying to jump on my computer. Let's watch this.
And sometimes, faithful
My
wives
community waiting on that lawsuit? No. Take your slave masters to court, dude.
followed their husbands into death.
Why we don't have to sue? You guys are pretending.
While the
There's
spirit
nothing
of the
to sue.
dead ascended to
You guys
join the
are frauds.
ancestors, the bones remain below within the sacred ground. The blood of the ancestors returns to the earth,
Sue
so that
us
it may
if you
nourish
think we
those
stole your
yet to be
identity.
born.
Why would we
Here
sue
in
you?
these
That
shallow
don't make no
quarries of
sense.
southwestern
Sue
Minnesota,
us if you think we stole your
the
identity.
color of the
Seriously,
soft rock
sue us,
reveals
please.
vividly the ancestors' blood. These rocks belong to all Indians, for it is the blood of all his ancestry. Here there is no contest among the tribes, although they may be enemies, for the sacredness of this place gives it a moral neutrality. These layered rocks, carefully pried loose, provide the Indian with the material with which he can bring together the harmonious influence of the ancestors with his negotiations in the present world.
Dude, I got the sickest fucking picture, yo.
I wanted the word cuppa, as in cup of tea, I thought it would be great to mix with hug. When I saw the domain was available, I was like, I'm taking it, I'm trademarking it, I'm going with it. Hi, I'm Aaron.
Pipestone is one of the most sacred of all Indian places
That's where
on
I
the
went
North
for my
American
birthday, is a
continent.
pipestone pipe.
Literally,
Big one, long
every
one.
piece pipe made
I
is
want a
from this
super long
red
one,
sacred
like a 5
clay.
foot long fucking pipestone pipe. I want to use.
Tribes as distant as the Gulf of Mexico and the Pacific coast migrated to this place to gather clay for their peace pipes. Consequently, every peace pipe ever smoked between the Indian and with white men during the struggle for this continent originated from this little quarry known as Pipestone. 10 Bears, Black Kettle, Crazy Horse, Red Cloud, and High.
See, look at his phenotype. You see how red his fucking face was? Right? And then you got Hanyo'os saying that Adam, right? Although Adam McGarden was here, and this guy looks like he's from like Missouri or something, right? Oklahoma or something, right? So Adam, they say, means ruddy, red, like he blushes, right? And they're trying to say that's Hanyo'os. Nah, that's the red man right there. Come on.
Back wolf brought their lips to these pipes.
Yahweh.
The smoke rose to the spirits as they asked for peace. They asked for fairness. They asked to be left alone, left to ancient traditions. The pipes remain the symbols of their way of life. The blood of the ancestors cupped within its bowl, the memories and hopes of the Indian for peace. The Indian's urge to live harmoniously with his fellow man was as strong as his need to live within nature. As all civilized men aspire toward peace, the Indian pursued this ideal. Nawawas is the place where the Cheyenne go to renew their power, which enables them to survive as a people. To the Cheyenne, this enormous butte which rises out of the green and yellow prairie of southwestern South Dakota is
Documentaries from
Nawawas,
the 70s.
the mountain where the people are taught. It is here that they receive their power of the hunt, which gives them their sustenance and their power to defend themselves against hardship. He had to visit sacred ground. Only there could he communicate with the world above, which had given his ancestors visions in the past and which held them for his future. For the Cheyenne, as other Indians, visions advised and guided them. They helped them order their life, reconcile misfortune, and predicted the ways they should follow. But the great visions did not come to the Indian readily. He had to journey to find them. He had to follow the steps of an ordeal before the great visions came to him. The Cheyenne come to know Wallace because it was here that their legendary hero, Sweet Medicine, received the sacred arrows which gave the Cheyenne their powers. Each year, following in the steps of Sweet Medicine, chosen Cheyenne journey across the prairie to this butte.
What's up?
What's up, brother?
What'd you say?
I say she wang wakta.
What's that?
It means how are you?
Scano. Kadangwe ta. Dogis kadangwe ta. Sadangwe ta. That means I'm doing well. That means I'm doing well. How are you doing?
That's good, man. That's dope.
Hey.
Hey, let me ask you this. Do you, because last time I talked to you, we was discussing, do you still eat some tradition food from your ancestors?
Yeah.
Today?
Today?
Like dishes that you eat like right now, like on a daily basis?
Not day to day, no. I eat regular, whatever at the store, whatever my girl gets. Everything. I eat everything, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but sometimes you do practice to eat like certain dishes from back then.
Yeah, our people, every ceremony, they have soup, different kind of dish. Depends on what kind of ceremony it is.
Like natural stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So, what tribe are you? What tribe are you?
Huh?
Are you indigenous?
Of course I am.
What tribe are you, I asked?
I'm Blackfoot.
You're Blackfoot?
Don't smile like that, man. Cause see, don't smile like that, brother.
You're black? I can smile any way I want. So, you're Blackfoot?
Yeah. Yeah, we had a discussion before.
Your people are from Canada and Montana?
No, they have Blackfoot from Louisiana. And Cherokee too.
Let's see.
Cherokee.
Hold on, what is it?
Cherokee and Blackfoot are tribes from Louisiana.
Blackfoot Cherokee tribe?
Yeah, it's called the come from the water, come from the ocean.
Okay, let's see. Blackfoot tribe, an indigenous tribe in Alberta, Canada, Montana. Yeah, Blackfoot Cherokee refers to a Cherokee band nation called the Northern Blackfoot Confederacy in North Georgia. Excuse me. Chitimacha? So what? Are you Chitimacha?
Huh?
So what are you?
You say Chitimacha, not Chitimacha.
What are you, bro? I'm trying to find your tribe. Is it a real tribe or what? Is it a real tribe or no?
I mean, it was a tribe, but now it's no tribe. You know, it's all gone. You know, we gotta get in
So
contact with our ancestors.
it's not. Is it a state recognized tribe?
That's why I need your help, brother. That's why I need your help to help me.
Okay, so why don't so here's the thing, bro. You want me to help you, right?
Yeah.
So have you taken a DNA test?
I took a DNA test, but one thing I discovered on the DNA test is when I got it, at the bottom it said for entertainment purposes only. So
Yeah, and you didn't have, and then the DNA wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I'm sorry. Then if it didn't show up there, you definitely don't have it, bro. You're definitely not Blackfoot Cherokee. I mean, you might have ties. You might have ties to like people that were had ties to Cherokee and Blackfoot's in Canada, dude. Blackfoot is like what people like down south say when they don't know what kind of Indian they are. And then it's not that Indians, the Cherokee owned black people down there. And then they gave them land, and that's why they live on Cherokee and Choctaw and Creek land. Yeah, they got adopted in, and some of them mixed in, but they're not like, they didn't learn the language. I mean, if they did, they didn't keep it, you know? And then it's kind of like, what's up?
You know, the crazy part is when you said they owned, the so-called slaves and stuff. It's like the so-called Indians didn't even want to free the ones that was there after they supposed to been free. They kept them like 200 or 300,
And
like 2 or 3
yeah,
years after that.
yeah, and that's the crazy part. Why would you even want to affiliate yourself with any of those tribes or Native Americans at all, right?
Okay, it's just like the fact that
It's like Stockholm syndrome, right? It's like Stockholm syndrome.
when I'm finna explain it, you know, it's just like when you take a Hispanic person right now today, somebody from Mexico, and then they say that they're indigenous. Well, they only indigenous due to the fact that what happened to their ancestors, you know.
Okay, well, are you black?
And it was so-called indigenous. So then you gotta pick a choice, because they just like, you take a kid and the kid is born out of wedlock due to the fact that the mother was raped, but the fact is he still got a father. He still got that same blood from that father. Even though that father did something he ain't no business, you can't hate him because his blood is in you. So
It's in you too. It's in everybody. Here's the thing. This is what I don't understand. So if you were to look it up, who has more European ancestry? Black Americans have more European ancestry than Native Americans, right? So you guys get to identify as black, but somebody that's from Mexico has to identify as like mestizo that has less European ancestry than a black person. You guys got black privilege. That's your privilege. That's your privilege right there, is you get to identify as black without being... Really, you guys are all mulattoes. You guys are all mulattoes and Melungeons. Mulattoes and Melungeons is what the black community is. You guys aren't full-blood, unless you're full-blooded African.
of course not. You know, you're right about that. You know, 100% right. I mean, you know, it's just like if you take a that's if you look at everybody's mixed. You know, so people can decide to roll with whoever they want to roll with, but everybody's mixed. Ain't nobody 100%. Everybody's mixed. I mean, this is the way it is. Everybody's mixed. Everybody's mixed. I mean, everybody's indigenous to somewhere. That's like, you can ask Google, was black people in Mexico and the Americas before slavery? They're gonna say yeah.
Yeah, you can look that up for everybody, bro, and it'll say yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
No,
you can look it up for every single group, and it'll say yeah, bro. I could look it up if the Chinese were. I could look it up if the Japanese were. I could look it up if the Vikings were. I could look it up if the Polynesians were. I could look it up if the Welsh were. I could look it up if the Europeans were. Dude, there's nothing, and you know what? None of them are indigenous because of it. None of them are indigenous because of it, and black people got here last because that Mansa Musa's first. This is your guys' problem. You guys want to be first, and everything's a contest. This is your downfall. This is your guys' downfall. You guys cannot beat a red man at his own culture. You guys can't out indigenous people, bro. You guys are brand new to this. We live, breathe, eat, sleep, shit this our whole life for generations. You guys just started calling your guys' selves Indians and natives and Blackfoot and Cherokee.
Listen. I want you to listen for me right quick. Just give me 1 minute. When people say the word Indian, the name and the face come to mind is somebody that look exactly like you. Now listen, the reason why that's possible and the reason why because America allowed that, the reason why America...
No, it's just what it is, bro. It's just what it is. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you feel that way, bro.
You heard of the Gully Wars? Have you heard of the Gully Wars? The Gully Wars was...
You guys all have the same talking points, bro. Yes, those are... Yeah, no, listen, they're... Afro-indigenous means you got African ancestry, bro. We could probably agree on the same things, bro.
People like you, your ancestors made a deal with the white people. They made a deal with them to actually hunt us down and do what they did to us. That's why the
And you know what, bro? The same, they hunted us down too, bro. They hunted us down too. It's not, bro. This is what I mean, bro. You're preaching to the choir, bro. It's not a contest. Who's been through worse,
but you don't want to listen.
bro?
Listen, we can win. Listen, people like you. Listen, you just listen. We could win everything we're supposed to get, but you for some reason thinking that you're right all the time and you're not, man. Because
Bro, I'm telling you, black people are not the Indians. You guys are trying to steal our identity right now. That's what's going on, bro.
Listen, first of all, the word Indian is a white man name.
Indios. And you guys are not indigenous. You're not indigenous to America unless you have American Indian, Native American, Indigenous American, Aboriginal, First Nations DNA, bro. You need our DNA.
America first people look like me, man.
Let's see what you look like then. Show us, please. Please show us. Put it on your camera, bro. No, put your camera on, bro. You want to say what? No, put your camera on. Show us. Show us, please. Show us. No, you said, nah, now you can't unmute yourself until you put your camera on. You said the first Americans look like who? Let's have them vote. Let's have them vote. Let's do this. Watch this. Hold on. Gotta fix this real quick. Have them vote. Put your camera on, bro. Yeah. No, we got 7. Not everybody vibes with me. Bro, I got people in here talking shit about me right now, bro. Come on, put your camera on. Put your camera on. Put your camera on, bro. I already gave you, bro, I already gave you a second chance. Don't make me give you a third chance, bro. Come on. Put your camera on. All right, bro. You fucked it up. Sorry, bro. I run a strict program over here, bro. Sorry, bro. I just can't let you keep walking all over me, bro. You want to talk, try to make points and all that and say the first Americans look like you. We don't even know what the fuck you look like. All I hear is an African American voice. That's all I hear. Sorry. I can't believe these people actually think they can claim our shit. They thought it was gonna be okay.
Hey, what's up, Joey? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, I wanted to just come up to address that guy. All the stuff he said was completely false. I'm Black American myself. He was like trying to essentially say that.
Go off, bro. Give me like 10 seconds. All right, go off, bro.
I was just saying, I wanted to address that guy. He was up here spreading misinformation. These guys, like, they come up here all the time in American Indian spaces saying egregious things about American Indian people. And they want to cry, like, when people turn around and spew at home and attacks. And, like, I'm not saying, I don't really condone, like, the whole oppression Olympics things and, like, the back and forth. But, like, I can't realistically say I don't understand the frustration of, like, people like that are American Indian with these like people in our community like coming up here spreading false information, bro. It's like so annoying. These guys like they take several facts and twist them. Like all you have to do is like ask them like simple questions. Like you just have to like ask them like because if they're so American Indian, like they would be obvious in the culture they're practicing. Like they wouldn't even have to debate it. They would just be evident. They're like these guys up there, they're saying they're American Indian, but yet like they're dressing like a Black American, talking like a Black American, eating Black American food. They're not doing anything that's culturally indigenous. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I just wanted to just come up and just say, just keep a, I support you. I'm a Black American of African descent.
Thank you, bro.
I support you.
All right, bro. Thank you for coming up. Thanks. Take it easy. Can you guys hear okay over there? Yo.
What's up, brother? Nice to meet you. I'm Native American too.
Nice to meet you. Where you from?
I'm from Cherokee. I got proof. Indiana.
You're from Indiana?
Is in Mishawaka. Yeah.
What'd you say?
I'm Native American. Both my dad's like 25% black and like 75% Native American. But I don't really talk to him. And my grandma has Native American him too on the other side, my mom's side too.
Both Cherokee?
And my Native American
No.
tribe name is Firewolf.
Are they both Cherokee?
My grandma, I think, yeah, Cherokee. Yep.
Not Blackfoot? You don't got no Blackfoot?
My dad's Blackfoot.
That explains it. Okay. Okay. All right, well, you said you got proof, right?
Yeah, I got proof. I got a picture of me with my federals in my head. And I got one federal. Yep.
Word, that's what's up, yo. Let me hear your war hoop.
Huh?
Let me hear your war hoop. You know what a war hoop is?
I don't know that.
When the Indians are yelling, you don't know when they're getting ready for war?
I didn't practice that while I was there.
While you were where? While you were where?
At my tribe.
At your tribe?
Yes, so.
Is there a lot of people in your tribe?
Yes, sir.
Do they got a website?
Like 40. I don't know.
Ah. Can anybody join?
No. Your family member has to be in the tribe.
Oh, okay. Okay. You know your clan?
Like my grandma. Huh?
You know your clan?
Cherokee.
You know what kind of clan though?
I don't think I asked them that. I will next time that I go.
Yeah, ask them what your clan is.
Okay.
All right, then I got some other people that are gonna come up. All right, let me know when you find out your clan. All right.
Will clan be like what animal you reach? What animal you in? Like a wolf and something like that?
Yeah.
Then a wolf because my name's Firewolf. Then a wolf.
Is that what your family told you? You're a wolf clan, or you're choosing wolf? Yeah. Are you choosing wolf?
My chief told me I was a wolf. Like he said he had a dream. Yep.
Okay. Sounds legit. Alright, yo, take it easy, alright, bro?
Yep, nice to meet you.
You too, peace. Yo, I could hear the Minecraft in the background, yo. Or Discord mod. You wanna be a mod? Looking for a mod. Yo.
Hello?
Oh, he's watching WWE. Yo, that's what's up, yo.
Hello?
Yo, somebody get that guy a grilled cheese. Yo, what up?
What's up, man?
What's up?
How's your day going?
It's going good. How are you?
So, man, I just want to tell you, I'm black, and I support what you're talking about.
Yeah, bro. I listen.
We're not Native American.
It's all right. There's some black Native Americans, but I don't want people. It gets weird because I don't want people to be like, I'm not anti-black or anything. I'm not racist or anything, bro. So I don't want people to think that I'm like hating on black people. I hate on pretendians, and they're just happen to be black, and because they can't debunk me or anything or prove me wrong, they try to use that as they weaponize their blackness and try to use that against me, try to say that I'm racist and all that. They make up lies about me because they can't debunk me, and I expose them. So they try to discredit me and try to say that I'm anti-black, but that's what they do. They just make up lies. Anybody that watches me would know that I'm not racist.
Yeah. I don't think you are, man.
Thank you, bro.
I support you. It's love from the black community, bro.
All right, you too. Right back at you, bro. Thank you.
Yep, have a good day.
You too. Peace. That's you. The fake ones. What's wrong with your face, though? What happened, bro? People that got stuff like that shouldn't be talking to people any type of way. I'm just saying. Nobody should be talking to anybody any type of way. People like that, Creator takes people like that quicker. It's like, god damn. That's crazy, yo. Yeah, bro, you shouldn't be like that. Creator, that's how Creator moves, yo. It's like you be fucked up to someone, you be mean to someone, that person will go. You fucking be mean to the wrong person. Yeah, yo, it's fucking weird energy out there, yo. I don't ever accept any negative energy, you know. I protect myself, you know. I make sure, you know, I'm good with my ancestors. You know, I don't deny my ancestors. I fucking love my ancestors. You deny your ancestors, they're not going to look out for you. They're not going to lead you. They're not going to warn you about things. They're not going to give you visions. They're not going to, you know, be that guardian angel or that, you know, that whisper in your ear. They're not going to be there for you, you know. Or when you're in a dark space, they're not going to give you that hope and that good medicine, you know, that only a native could truly understand what I'm even talking about.
A young brave's ordeal is shared by his father and his grandfather. Together, the men will ascend the butte, carrying with them the sacred buffalo head and the sacred buffalo robe. These two will help draw the vision. The buffalo head and the robe are symbolic of the vision they seek.
If you guys are trying to watch, you gotta go to YouTube. Couple more weeks till I get unbanned on TikTok Studio, and then I can put my screen back on
The physical journey, the climb, is but a part of the ordeal. The men must prepare themselves to receive the vision. They must also satisfy rituals to become one with their surroundings. They must join the wind, the sky, and the rocks, which hold the sacredness of Nawawas. Once these labors have begun, they will fast until the vision comes to them.
Yeah, yo, I really I lose aura when I fucking go back and forth with fucking these crackheads, yo. I'm sorry. I make them my equal. I'm in a whole nother bracket, you know. In the real world, these motherfuckers wouldn't say any of this shit to my face. You know, nobody's like that, yo. That's what I'm saying. So I'm done going back and forth with people that have like 100 followers or don't even have a fucking picture. It's just I don't tolerate no disrespect at all from nobody. I don't care what color you are.
They see suspended in the heavens a great golden plain, the color of the sun. In the center of the plain roam a great herd of black buffalo. Encircling the buffalo are the people, all the Cheyenne who have ever lived and died, and all those yet to be born. It is the vision the Cheyenne have sought. It tells them that their land is bountiful and that they are protected from all their enemies. Their ancestors and their children join them forever. They endure. Visions are sought by the Indian throughout his life. They are the means by which he receives his spiritual direction. Visions reveal to him the wisdom of the past, the potential of the future. They tell him what he must do. Visions are the teacher.
Even your so-called friend Wanko was talking bad about you. He's not your friend. Who the fuck's Wanko? Wanky? Wanky? Who the fuck's Wanky? I don't know who that is. Who's that? Who the fuck is that? No, bro, we low-key shouldn't be making fun of the guy who said he was cherry. I didn't make fun of that guy. The fuck? Wanky, I can't remember his name. Yeah, that don't even ring any bells. I'm sorry. That's the racist shit. What did I say that was racist? What did I say that was just racist, yo? What the fuck did I say? I didn't say anything racist. Wanaki? Wanaki? Who the fuck is Wanaki, yo? Who the fuck is that? Who's talking down on me? Yeah, that's...
Everyone knows I'm a football guy, but man, do I love...
Nookie? Or knock it? Nookie? Who the fuck is Nookie? I don't know who the fuck you guys are talking about. Onagi? That's Lummy? Yeah, I have no idea who the fuck you guys are even talking about. To be honest, I don't even care. Knock it, yeah. That you talk with your hands. I talk with my hands. That I talk with my hands. Wanaki? Nah. Dark and has long hair. No, I don't know. Sorry. Don't ring no bells.
People are taught.
Yeah, I don't even care.
You write the words. What if you could
that's
hear
what I
them as a
mean,
song?
y'all.
Go to suno.com,
That's what I
switch to
mean,
custom
y'all.
mode, and paste in your lyric.
That's what I mean.
On the high plateau of Arizona, there is a canyon into whose crevices are drawn the elements of the Navajo universe. The place is the center of the Navajo's existence, where wisdom...
It's not just the Navajos that say that. Fucking white people say that too. That's the center of the universe out there.
And serenity reside with the spirits of the ancient ones. For the North American Indian, the center of the universe is the place where he can exist in contentment, responsible to himself and to the world around him. For the Navajo, this place is Canyon de Chelly. The architecture of this canyon, the steep walls, the shaded tunnels, the sharp pinnacles, are the Navajo's physical world. The things which move through this architecture, the wind which grazes the cliffs, the light which invades the tunnels, the shadows which move around the pinnacles, are the spirits of the ancestors who reside there. Long ago, they carved their cities beneath great overhangs, which roofed them against weather, shadowed them from enemies. The Navajo, a wandering people, came into Canyon de Chelly after the original people had left their cities to the wind. They found evidence of a civilization left vacant, awaiting their arrival. They had inherited a whole and complex former world. They had come among the Anasazi, the ancient ones, and there they would remain. The spirit of the spider grandmother, who in Navajo legend wove the web which enabled the chosen ones to climb up from the worlds beneath to this world, stands sentinel at the head of the canyon. She remains indestructible. The wind encircles and moves on through the caves where the other ancients reside. Canyon de Chelly is the center of the Navajo's universe because it is here where his ancestral history joins with his physical world. Perhaps here at Canyon de Chelly, we find the strongest example at present of the continuing relationship between the Indian and his sacred ground. Here, he understands his place among all his people and his relationship to his universe. In time, perhaps as their creator prophesied, all the Indian people will return to their lands and will begin their lives anew. The hard-running winds of the plateau invest these canyons with the oldest, most particular sounds of the earth and sky. One imagines that the voices of the ancient ones and those of the present will carry here forever. We have been but momentary visitors to these places where the Indian dwells. Places where not only his lifetime is spent, but where his entire history, all of his past and all of his future, dwell. Perhaps we've been guided toward a realization that the Indian and the ground are the same. He is born of the earth and he returns to the earth. The cycle of his life is like the cycle of the sun. That is why when conquering cultures forcibly removed the Indian from his origin, the anguish and disorientation he felt was devastating. The cruelty was even greater than we supposed. On the quiet streets of La Junta, where these homes now sit, hundreds of brilliantly colored teepees once stood. This small eastern Colorado town is where the Santa Fe Trail turns south. With the wagon tracks of the white man already embedded along its banks, thousands of Indians met at this place on the Arkansas River for one last time of fasting, ceremony, and gift-giving among themselves. It was the place where the last great peace council between the Plains Indian tribes was held in 1840. It was a great reunion, and it was farewell. The ground held all these tribes upon its arid plateau, and the river curved to embrace them for one last time before their departure. Today, citizens of La Junta live within this great bowl of nature. They feel the wind, dread the winter, and delight in the arrival of spring. In their awareness of the natural world in which they live, they begin to share with the Indian in understanding of the ground. In their relationship to the land, the difference between the white man and the Indian is that the white man wishes to be dominant upon the landscape. The Indian is but one of the many living creatures within a universe of living things. The white man is moved by nature as is.
Yo, hey, Veronica, thank you. Hey, everybody spam W's for Veronica, yo. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that, yo. I didn't see it just till now. Yo, Mason Mirage, I sent you a request if you wanted to come on up. You can top. Instead, because I'm probably not going to see your message, bro. I get so much mail. I got so many messages, bro. I got to turn my messaging off because my phone will be going off all day. Like, ding, 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 ding. Like, every, 10 seconds, yo, I get fucking mad messages. Mad hate. Mad hate. Y'all message a lot of people from midnight until 4 a.m., yo. Yeah, yo, they're, thinking about us late at night, hating on us, yo. Straight up, yo. I'm getting tagged in fucking posts and photos, and they're commenting photos of me that they have saved in their phone. Photos that I posted. You guys post pictures that I posted, thinking that, I'm ashamed of how I used to look 10 years ago. No, if I was ashamed of how I used to look 10 years ago, I would go to my Instagram where you stole them from and delete them. You guys are just bringing more traffic to my page, yo. Keep it up. You got another guy's picture saved in your phone. Another guy that doesn't even know who you are or care who you are. People hate 24/7, yeah. And they hate the most in the middle of the night, yo. When I'm asleep like a baby. When I'm asleep like a baby.
The Indian, but when the wind blows through a forest, the Indian does not hear its sound. He hears the voice of a spirit which speaks to him. Now, finally, we've become conscientious in our efforts to preserve those very things which the Indian fought to save not so very long ago. We've learned from the wisdom of an older people the value of the earth the sacredness of the ground.
Send another request. Matthew. Is that your name, Matthew?
Fall 1911, Southern Nevada. Two miners named David Pugh and James Hart are 3 to 6 feet down into the floor of a cave 20 miles south of Lovelock, shoveling bat guano into crates for a fertilizer company in San Francisco. They have been doing this for months. The cave is dark, low-ceilinged, thick with the
What
smell
can you
of
make with bat guano? Like dynamite or something? Right? Can't you make some type of bat guano? Something with bat guano like that?
Thousand years of occupation. They are not archaeologists. They are not looking for anything except guano. Then Hart's shovel hits something different. In the north-central section of the cave, 4 feet deep, he finds a body. Not bones, a body. Mummified. Preserved by the same dry cave conditions that had kept everything else in here intact for centuries. Hart writes about it later in a report that still exists. The body was, he says, a striking-looking man. 6 feet 6 inches tall, hair distinctly red. He called him a giant. That description, red hair, extraordinary height preserved in a Nevada cave, had already been written down 28 years earlier.
And over time, bones shrink too.
Not by an archaeologist, not by a miner, by a Paiute woman named Sarah Winnemucca, daughter of...
She's got a crown. And she's a princess. We have princesses. And you know what? I was checking out this Book of Mormon stuff, and they had we're talking about these people wearing copper crowns, They're women wearing copper crowns. Choctaw and Cherokee Muskogean wear copper crowns. Our women wear copper crowns. You dreamt of me? Have you? A lot of people have dreams of me, I'm a traveler though too, so yeah, I might have popped in your dream. Maybe.
Chief Winnemucca of
I'm
the
a traveler,
Northern Paiute, writing the
Big
first
time.
autobiography ever published by a Native American woman. She had described these people from memory, from oral tradition, from a morning dress trimmed with their hair that had been passed through her family for generations. She wrote it in 1883. The miners found the body in 1911. The question isn't whether something was buried in that cave. The question is how a woman writing a book in Boston knew exactly what the miners would find. Sarah Winnemucca's book is called Life Among the Paiutes, Their Wrongs and Claims. It's not a book about giants. It's an autobiography about her people suffering under American settlement, written to raise money for her lecture tour and documented their history for the first time in their own words. The Seneca appear in it almost incidentally as part of a larger history of war and survival. She writes that her people fought a prolonged war against a tribe called the Seneca. The name
Seneca.
translates in northern Paiute as tool eaters, after the fibrous
Tool
water
eaters.
plant.
So real tree eaters, bark eaters. There's a tribe like that. I forget what tribe it is. Is that Micmac? What's the tribe that eats bark? Is that what they call Mohawk? I don't know.
They used to build rafts for crossing what was then a vast inland lake covering most of northern Nevada. She describes them as fierce,
You went to the Yamasee
cannibalistic,
powwow today? How was
physically
it?
unlike the Paiute. After
Did you infiltrate? Come on up and tell us about it, yo. You want to come on up? Got a big burp coming up. Just a heads up. Make some more room for pot pie. 7 people sitting under a gazebo. Did you get pictures, bro? Please tell me you got a picture, bro. Please. Please tell me you got a fucking picture, bro. Excuse me. Yeah, please tell me you got a picture, bro. Please. Yeah, I'll text it to you. Hit the Cash App, yo.
years of warfare, all the tribes in the region united against them, which is significant because those tribes were normally enemies of each other. The Sita were the only thing that made them cooperate. The final battle happened at a cave. The Sita retreated inside. The tribes piled brush at the entrance and set it alight. Those who tried to escape were killed. Those who stayed died from the smoke. And then she writes something that reads differently once you know what the miners found in 1911. She writes, "My people say that the tribe we exterminated had reddish hair. I have some of their hair which has been handed down from father to son. I have a dress which has been in our family a great many years, trimmed with the reddish hair. I'm going to wear it sometime when I lecture. It is called a mourning dress, and no one has such a dress but my family. A mourning dress trimmed with the hair of the people they killed, passed down through generations as a family heirloom."
So my people had unalived them all. The people around us called Seidokara, which means conqueror. It also means enemy. Seidokara. 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 Excuse me.
The reddish hair wasn't a detail she added for effect.
Hey, thank you, bro.
It was physical. Her family owned it. It was sitting in a trunk somewhere in Nevada while she wrote that sentence in a Boston lecture hall. 28 years later, 4 feet beneath the floor of a cave 20 miles south of Lovelock, James Hart pulls a mummified body from the guano and writes, "Hair distinctly red." The cave had a soot-blackened ceiling. When archaeologists from the University of California arrived the following year and began the first systematic excavation of the site, they found burnt arrow shafts embedded in the walls near the entrance, physical evidence of a fire, physical evidence of arrows, exactly where the Paiute oral tradition said the final battle had happened. The story Winnemucca's family had been telling for generations was confirmed not by a document or a theory, but by charred wood still embedded in rock. By the time the University of California got there in 1912, Most of what had been in the upper layers of the cave was already gone. The guano mining operation had removed 250 tons of material from the cave floor, 3 to 6 feet deep across the entire site, before anyone notified a single institution. Whatever was in those layers was screened out, mixed with guano, and shipped to a fertilizer company in San Francisco. The archaeologist sent to salvage what remained was a man named Llewellyn Loud. He spent 5 months excavating Lovelock Cave in 1912, returned with a colleague named Mark Harrington in 1924, and together they published a detailed report in 1929 through the University of California Press. 10,000 artifacts recovered, 40 storage pits documented, a comprehensive catalogue of everything that survived the guano miners. The 1929 report confirms what Hart had written, not in one place, throughout. Much of the hair found on the mummies in the cave, Loud and Harrington write, is reddish. That's the University of California's official published report, not a newspaper account, not an alternative history website, the peer-reviewed academic publication that became the foundational reference for Great Basin archaeology. The same report also documents what had been lost before they arrived. The guano crew had taken bones, especially skulls. Some mummies had been taken by members of the mining operation. And then this. The best specimen of the adult mummies was boiled and destroyed by a local fraternal lodge, which wanted the skeleton for initiation purposes. The best specimen of the adult mummies, boiled for a ritual initiation. Whatever James Hart had described, 6 feet 6 inches, hair distinctly red, the best of what the cave contained was gone before any scientist saw it. Reduced to a skeleton for a lodge ceremony and then discarded, what Loud did recover gives you a sense of what the cave held. 15-inch sandals, not modern, ancient, woven from...
The Freemasons? Hey, Kenneth, are you talking to me? What happened? Did you see or hear anything? Have I fasted? Yes, I have. I did see a fucking burial, and it was a bad fast, and it was a fucking demon burial. It fucking got me locked up, so yeah. I've done some wicked things. Changed my ways though. I've been through the fire and I've been burned, and now I share my story to warn others and give them hope that'll be alright if they're just getting out of it. Because I've been in and I've gone back for more and keep getting burned. Now I'm numb to it, Warrior for my people, yo. Warriors aren't born, or they're made, Does your tribe do psychedelic for ceremonies? Excuse my ignorance. No, not that I know of. I'm sure we probably did, though. I've read that we had ceremonies where we drank, where they had like a punch or something, and they just danced and drank, and we don't have that no more. The Jensen weed. See? I don't know everything. This is stuff that I don't know. I didn't know that we had that. I don't even know what that is. Jensen weed. Let's check that out. Jimson weed. Ooh, like Jimerson weed? Just kidding. Tetrastramonian is an annual plant with upright bushy root grass habit. Oh yeah, I see this stuff going around. It's like a weed on the ground, yeah. Yup. The weeds aren't weeds, yo. It's medicine, yo. And you're walking right past it. We lost all that. Every plant had a purpose, yo. Every fucking plant, there was a fucking purpose for it, and it healed you somehow. Or it killed you, or fucking you mixed it with something else to get a certain reaction out of another plant. So you can mix it with this other one and it could do something for you. That's how it works. That's how the plants work. So we lost all that knowledge. We got some of it, and they weaponized a lot of it, and now they're using it on our people to take us out. Indigenous people are not Latin people. I've thought that I theorizing that there's a linguistic connection in between indigenous languages and Latin. It's gonna be a northeastern language, your furthest northeastern, maybe even Greenlandic. It's gonna, yeah, yo, Celtic. You're like your neighbors. You're reading the Book of Enoch. It's a good book. You'll like it. But yeah, yo, it's you're like your neighbors. And then yesterday we were learning that the Pygmy tribes at the North Pole, that Inuit people claim they came from North, but I know some Danaes that say that those are their people. That Eskimos are their people, and they got banished up there. And then you hear other stories where they got chased up there by a big giant fucking monster, actually. And then, yeah, we were just learning about, this was it? Oh, dude, that's corn, bro. That's so funny, yo. Damn, no. You got a picture, though? Did they have singers? They had people singing? You get videos? I like watching their little, oh, you should have got a video, bro. That would have been some good content, bro. That would have went viral. It would have been funny.
Is if you've had a little bit of experience painting with me or other people.
What the fuck is this?
For most of human history, the Americas were the last great unknown. Our species spread across Africa, Europe, Asia, and even reached Australia tens of thousands of years before we made it to the Western Hemisphere. Massive ice sheets blocked people from getting to North America by land. Vast oceans separated South America from the rest of the world. We eventually made it here, but when and how this happened is unclear. For decades, archaeologists believe they had the answer. The first Americans, they said, walked from Siberia into Alaska across a land bridge called Beringia. Then they traveled south through a narrow gap between two giant glaciers to finally enter the new landmass. This became the standard story taught in textbooks for generations. But in recent years, new discoveries have started to challenge this idea, and some researchers have proposed pretty shocking alternatives. One is that the first Americans came from Ice Age Europe, crossing the Atlantic along frozen seas.
Others think the real answer lies along the Pacific coast, where travelers relied on a very specific set of resources for survival. These are the three main hypotheses most often thrown around. But which one is right? Which one does the evidence support? Let's see for ourselves. Our story begins in 1908, when a sudden cloudburst devastated the small town of Folsom, New Mexico with severe flooding. Water rushed through the streets overnight, destroying homes and businesses and killing at least 17 people. The next day, a cowboy named George McJunkin rode out to inspect the damage along near.
Here we go. I guarantee you these won't be the oldest. They're
Imagine a world
some out.
before recorded history. A time when mammoths roamed the plains and ancient humans were just beginning to explore new frontiers. Long before Columbus, long before the Clovis people, there were pioneers whose stories are only now being uncovered. Join me as I step back in time to reveal the secrets of North America's oldest and most controversial archaeological sites, where each discovery rewrites our understanding of human history. I'm going to walk you through the 5 oldest archaeological sites we know of located on the North American continent. Things get more controversial as we move back in our timeline, from Meadowcroft Rock Shelter to the Cerruti Mastodon site. In the world of archaeology, just like any other discipline, there are those who are biased toward the status quo and will seek to uphold conventional explanations even in the face of new evidence. On the other hand, some people too quickly latch on to the newest exciting trend despite insufficient evidence. Regardless of what side you're on, we must share, communicate, and debate all ideas, even the most controversial ones. Part of the controversy behind some of the forthcoming sites is due to the once long-held belief that the Clovis culture represents the first people to reach the New World. We now have evidence that they were not, with some of these sites being significantly older than any known Clovis site. By significant, I mean a difference of almost 110,000 years in one case. So, let's begin with a brief overview of who these Clovis people were and when they appear in the archaeological record of North America. The Clovis first model is the conventional belief that groups of nomadic hunter-gatherers, predominantly known by their stone tool technology, were the initial inhabitants of the Americas. The only evidence we have of these people, besides one example of human remains, stems from the numerous artifacts they left behind. So let's explore this once advanced technology. They crafted various kinds of stone scrapers and hammers, in addition to awls and needles made from bone. Named after Clovis, New Mexico, where the first of its kind was discovered, the Clovis projectile point was a staple of these ancient Americans' toolkits. Crafted from a variety of fine-grained stones, such as obsidian, chert, or chalcedony, these points are unique to the American continent. Not found anywhere else on Earth, they are identifiable by their shape. At the base of both sides of the point is a flute, or a depressed channel that runs up toward the tip. This fluted end would have accommodated hafting the point to a wooden shaft, creating a hand-thrown or atlatl-thrown spear. Many Clovis sites include the remains of megafauna that once lived in North America, including mammoths, mastodons, and longhorned bison. Often these remains are found with Clovis points still impaled into their ribs or other bones, suggesting that these Paleo-Indians were hunting large game. However, a recent study has thrown some doubt on the efficacy of Clovis points for taking down large prey like woolly mammoths. The truth is, we may never know the true relationship between the Clovis people and the megafauna they shared the continent with. Regardless, we can't directly date how old these stone tools are, but we can date the organic materials found in association with them. Radiocarbon dates of bone and charcoal located near Clovis points stratigraphically suggest that these people appeared in North America around 13,050 years ago and disappeared around 12,750 years ago. How they got there is also debated, with some people hypothesizing a coastal route and others suggesting they took a route further inland through an ice-free corridor. Both hypotheses are plausible, and it's not impossible for there to have been multiple phases of migration, with some groups traveling along the coast and others navigating between glaciers. For many years, it was widely accepted that these were the original inhabitants of North America. Without leaving much more evidence than their projectile points, we can do a little but hypothesize about their lives and how they got there. But starting around the 1970s, archaeological excavations began to shed light on even earlier inhabitants of these lands. The first of these sites I'll discuss comes from the eastern United States.
14 to
What if I told
16,000
you
years
that
ago.
there's something inherently special about the land you live on? And I don't mean your country. I quite literally mean your property, the plot of land on which you currently reside. Maybe choosing to live there was more of a subconscious decision than a conscious one. Maybe the land spoke to your subconscious, informing you of the value it encompasses. What's beautiful about doing archaeology in the United States is that you can see how the land spoke to the minds of prehistoric people in similar ways it did to the European colonists. The land's objective characteristics expose some universal features of the human mind, features that cross cultural boundaries. For example, the settlement patterns of early colonists were not unlike those of the indigenous Lenape people who they encountered. Those areas attractive to the Lenape because of their natural features were equally attractive to the early settlers and to later inhabitants as well, and for precisely the same reasons. Meadowcroft Rock Shelter is our first site to discuss.
So basically, they're just saying all the cities are built on top of our cities. Yeah, we know. We know.
And is a great example of how disparate cultures can find common ground. The site is located in the southwestern corner of Pennsylvania, about 48 kilometers southwest of modern-day Pittsburgh. It sits on the bank of a small tributary of the Ohio River called Cross Creek. About 15 meters above the creek, it provides easy access to the fauna and resources associated with the waterway, but is largely unaffected by heavy flooding. Its rock overhang protrudes about 13 meters above the site's ground surface. Originally, it was recognized as a historical site associated with a 19th century rural community. This changed dramatically when Albert Miller stumbled upon stone artifacts that surfaced from a badger burrowing into the ground. James Adivasio, professor of archaeology at the University of Pittsburgh, eventually caught wind of what Miller discovered, and archaeological excavations were soon underway. Over multiple phases of excavation in the 1970s and the decades following, Adivasio's team of archaeologists and geologists uncovered onion layers of human occupation, including some of the oldest cultural material to be discovered in North America. In addition to the known historical farmstead that sat adjacent to their digging location, multiple periods of prehistoric occupation were identified. The chronology of Native American prehistory is roughly broken up into three cultural periods. The oldest is known as the Paleo-Indian period, which dates from around 13,000 to 9,500 years ago and includes the Clovis culture. Next, from 9,500 to around 3,000 years ago, lived the Archaic tradition.
Look at these mountains, yo. They're not like regular mountains. Like the Hindu Kush mountains, they look like... These are like giant ass fucking rocks with straight edges.
These people are marked by new stone tool technologies, like notched and stemmed points, as well as grinding stones for seeds and nuts. Then, from 3,000 to 1,000 years ago, lived the woodland traditions. The cultures of the woodland period began incorporating agriculture. They also started producing ceramic pottery and small, refined arrowheads for their bows and arrows. All three periods are present at Meadowcroft Rock Shelter. Adivasio and colleagues have identified 11 stratigraphic layers, including 10 strata with
Dravidian
cultural habitation. Stratum 1 is what they believe to be sterile subsoil, consisting of decomposed sandstone.
Or Asian, actually. That's what Dravidian is, Asian.
and no cultural material. Stratum 2 is separated into 2A, the lower portion, and 2B, the upper portion. Stratum 2A consists of the oldest cultural material, reminiscent of Paleo-Indian stone tools. That's overlaid by stratum 2B and stratum 3, which they attribute to the archaic tradition. Finally, evidence of woodland occupation was encountered in strata 4 through
Isn't that the best
11.
background ever, yo?
So, within this one site, we can see
Fucking
intermittent
badass,
bouts
yo.
of land usage over thousands of years by culturally distinct people. The deepest, oldest stratum, 2A, is the layer that's of particular interest. The one complete stone tool found here did not resemble the Clovis points that we presume would underlie the archaic artifacts. Instead, it lacks the fluted base entirely and has been given its own typological name, the Miller-Lancelet projectile point, named after Albert Miller. Researchers suggest that this projectile point represents a pre-Clovis point, possibly an earlier iteration or prototype. So, when does this pre-Clovis site date to? Discrepancies and debates arose amid the initial excavations, but the conservative estimate of the deepest radiocarbon samples averaged to around 14,000 years ago, 500 years before the appearance of the Clovis culture. However, the earliest radiocarbon samples date as far back as 16,770 years ago. Despite early criticisms, Meadowcroft Rock Shelter is now widely regarded as a pre-Clovis site. To conclude, here is a quote by James Adivasio himself and his colleagues. Although the incipient occupation of this site has understandably, but perhaps unfortunately, captured the spotlight, the lion's share of the site's unquestionable deposits are an eloquent testimonial to thousands of years of subsequent human cultural adaptation. If the site accomplishes no more than to draw increased attention to this sometimes subtle, sometimes radically shifting relationship among humans, their technology, and the conditions of their natural environment, it will be enough. Up next is a site that has only recently been discovered and pushes human migrations into North America almost twice as far back as Meadowcroft Rock Shelter. Not everything is preserved under the ground equally well. Some things have a faster rate of decay, while some soil conditions are better suited for preventing that decay. For example, very saturated soils, such as those found in bog-like environments, promote the preservation of organic material by reducing exposure to oxygen. This keeps microorganisms from decomposing that organic material. Quick changes in soil composition can also affect preservation. The more rapidly something is buried, the more likely it is to remain unchanged under the ground. In the case of white sands, it was a change in saturation that solidified the presence of humans around 22,000 years ago. White Sands is a national park in New Mexico, just 100 kilometers north of the Mexican border. Today, the site is hot, dry, and covered in wind-blown sand dunes that extend to the horizon line.
Go Bluefish Caves. 24,000 years ago? These are older than
Part of the
White
difficulty
Sands.
in explaining how people made it to North America is due to a massive ecological barrier that would have been problematic for migrations. The Ice Age. The last glacial maximum lasted from about 24,000 to 19,000 years ago, defined by cool temperatures and massive ice sheets covering much of the northern...
Oh, look, that's Asia and that's America. See? There used to be land at the North Pole. What the fuck happened? It's because they flipped the fucking map. They flipped the map. The North Pole is at Antarctica because what did they say they found underneath Antarctica, underneath all the ice? Fucking rainforest, yo. And there used to be a magnetic mountain on old maps that showed the Rupus nigra. That's why your compass would point north. It's because there was a tree of life there that they'd cut down. It's on all the old world depictions of what the... Look up the Norse depiction of where we used to live.
Northern Hemisphere, it would have been nearly impossible to cross from Eurasia into America via the land. After 19,000 years ago, the climate gradually started warming back up, and some of the ice began to melt. The Laurentide ice sheet to the east and the Cordilleran ice sheet to the west began to recede, and an ice-free corridor between the two emerged. As mentioned earlier, this is the primary explanation for how the Clovis people got to North America.
Okay, Clovis points. Yeah, look, because there was a war. There's a war going on over here, yo. You can tell there was a war going on. All the Clovis points. That's a battleground right there, yo. That is a battleground right there. Come on. That's a battleground right there. And look at where they find it. Look at the map I got. Come on, yo. This is what I'm saying, yo. The giant DNA lives on in us today. And Ungwehune people, we are just big boned people, yo.
They waited for the ice to melt. The fact that we have evidence of people in America before these ice sheets receded challenges that idea. Our next site, Bluefish Caves, supports a new hypothesis that populations of people were living in North America before the opening of this ice-free corridor. Jacques Mars, a Canadian archaeologist, excavated Bluefish Caves from 1977 to 1987. This site is nested in the mountains of the Canadian Yukon, near the Alaskan border. This area of the world gets brutally cold in the winter, sometimes reaching negative 60 degrees Celsius. However, the excavations at Bluefish Caves suggest that people were living there at a time when it was essentially winter year-round, during the last ice age. While there is a collection of small stone tools like microblades that came from Bluefish Caves, the primary archaeological focus has been on the faunal assemblage. A diverse range of animal remains were found here, including caribou, mammoth, bison, and even horses. Initial analyses of these bones suggest that they date to around 24,000 years ago. For those in the 1980s and 1990s who disputed the 16th...
Dude, them Eskimos know how to live up there, yo, in that shit. Even when it's 1 or 2, it gets 0 around here, yo. It's been like negative 10. I've been outside, and your nose hairs get frozen, yo. Couldn't imagine a negative 76. Yeah, dude, you'll fucking die, yo. You'll walk out there and start freezing right away.
1,000-year-old meadowcroft.
That would happen, yo. I wonder in the ice. Yo, I bet you they got fucking people buried in the ice out there, yo. It just probably got too cold and they probably just never woke up in snow. Their igloo just fell and snow just covered them. It's probably all kinds of bodies out there in the ice, yo. I bet you, yo. But you know what? They do know how to survive in that shit. The animals, they made a deal with God that the animals were going to sacrifice themselves. They made a deal, not deal with God, they made a deal with the animals in an agreement. Basically, God allowed it that the animals were going to sacrifice themselves and give themselves to the humans so they can use their furs to keep them warm because they knew that the humans could help them, you know?
Rock shelter, a date this old would have been met with complete disregard. Luckily, research on the site has continued. A study published in 2017 re-examined some of this bone material. The researchers investigated a total of 36,000 mammal bones associated with these caves, not all of which were associated with human modification, though. Based on certain characteristics, they determined that only 15 of these bones clearly depicted marks created by humans. Another 20, they say, have markings indicative of probable human modification. But what are some of the characteristics used to determine if a cut mark was made by humans using things like stone tools or by natural causes, like a predator simply having their way with their prey? Here are a few of the criteria used by the researchers. The first is shape.
You know, I've been hearing about gabagool, capicola. I went and finally got some gabagool. It wasn't that good.
Cut marks made with...
I wanted it to be like... It was like wet and like slimy, yo. I didn't like that. I want the fucking meat that is fucking like almost like beef jerky, but it's not, yo. That's what I'm looking for. I don't know what it's called though. It looks fucking good though.
with stone tools are usually V-shaped, while carnivore tooth marks or even metal tools will produce grooves with more parallel walls. Trajectory. Cut marks are commonly straight, but can sometimes be curved. They are rarely sinuous, as in the case of trampling or root etching. Third, the number, size, and overlapping of stria. Butchering activities can produce multiple stria that should be parallel in orientation and roughly the same size. And lastly, the anatomical location and orientation of the cuts. The anatomical location and orientation of cultural bone modifications must be consistent with the marks produced by specific butchery tasks. Marks produced by natural processes, however, will not reflect any predetermined intention. So, between 15 and 35 samples of this bone assemblage contained markings that align with one or more of these criteria, suggesting cultural modification by prehistoric humans. Radiocarbon dates were then extracted from 6 of these bones, not all of which were mind-blowingly ancient. Some bones dated to around 15,000 years ago. However, one horse bone in particular was much, much older than the rest. A horse jaw fragment was found in one of the lower soil layers of the site. It was weathered by natural causes but retained markings by humans. According to the researchers, the cuts are located on the medial side under the third and second molars and are associated with the removal of the tongue using a stone tool. This bone produced the oldest radiocarbon dates, coming in at 24,000 years ago. Like so many other archaeological sites, no actual people were found at Bluefish Caves. All we have is the cultural material they left behind. What interpretations can we extract from said cultural material? Aside from the deep antiquity of human presence in North America, the researchers of this study suggest that Bluefish Caves supports the standstill hypothesis. This hypothesis proposes that a genetically isolated human population persisted in Beringia, aka the land between Eurasia and North America, during the last glacial maximum, and dispersed from there to North and South America during the post-last glacial maximum period. This population would have been relatively small, measuring a few thousand individuals, and they would have expanded south once the ice-free corridor opened. But this would fail to explain things like the White Sands footprints, which are only about 1 or 2,000 years younger than the Bluefish Cave findings, and would have been made during the last glacial maximum. Maybe the people of White Sands didn't come from the ice-free corridor. Maybe they took the coastal route. Or maybe they made it to North America entirely before the last glacial maximum.
Or maybe life just originated in America and people fucking walked out of the Americas and everybody's fucking lying.
Next site, while controversial, suggests that people were in fact living in North America before the last glacial maximum, about 25,000 years before.
Topper, 50,000 years ago.
The mining operations conducted around the world today are enormous. The excavating machines often weigh dozens of tons, and the quarries themselves can be kilometers wide. Salt, iron, sand, and oil are just some of the materials we extract from the earth and use to create countless products. With a population of more than 8 billion people, the demand for raw materials is higher than ever. Rewind 5, 10, or 15,000 years ago, and people still needed raw materials to craft the tools necessary for survival, albeit at a much smaller scale. Various quarries have been discovered across North America, which are attributable to the continent's prehistoric inhabitants. Modern-day archaeologists working on these sites are quite literally excavating prehistoric excavations, and stone was their gold. Stone was a fundamental material to the prehistoric toolkit. Indigenous Americans would have refined the art of identifying which stone types were most effective for tool manufacture. Paleo-Indians were vitally dependent upon their tools and weapons, and preferred to use only the finest quality lithics available. Stone carefully selected for fine color, translucency, smooth texture, and other aesthetic and functional qualities, says archaeologist Herbert Kraft. Some of the most common types of stone were chert, quartz, and quartzite. However, knowing what type of stone to use is not enough. You must know where to find it. When an outcrop of valuable stone was discovered, it would quickly or eventually become a quarry for local or migrating people. This is exactly what the Topper site is. Located along the Savannah River near the border between Georgia and South Carolina, Topper has been undergoing archaeological investigations since the 1980s. Albert Goodyear III has been the lead archaeologist for the duration of these investigations, and he's made some very bold claims. He suggests that his quarry site not only contains Clovis and pre-Clovis occupation layers, but that some of the pre-Clovis cultural material might be as old as 50,000 years ago. Topper was used as a chert quarry by various Native American groups over thousands of years. This is clear by the abundance of raw chert and the various stone manufacturing and procurement tools left behind by past inhabitants. Importantly, Goodyear devised a multidisciplinary team consisting of archaeologists and a variety of soil scientists and geologists to study this quarry. There are essentially 3 geochronological soil layers within the Topper site, and the uppermost layer contains evidence of Clovis Archaic and Woodland era cultural material. The soil in which these upper materials were discovered is the youngest of the 3, likely deposited after the last glacial maximum. This aligns with the general chronology of when the Clovis people first appeared. Underlying this layer is a layer of alluvial sands, which is sand that's been deposited by running water in a stream bed or on a floodplain. Geologists on the site have made the argument that water running through the Savannah River during the last ice age is what brought this sand to Topper. As a result, they date this layer to between 16 and 20,000 years ago. This is where the pre-Clovis assemblage begins. Stone artifacts that came out of this layer are mostly either unfinished tools that were abandoned mid-production or what archaeologists call debitage, the unused byproducts like flakes that result from working stone. Partly what makes this assemblage interesting is the method of stone tool manufacture that was used. As opposed to the typical flint knapping used by Clovis and later peoples, whereby one rock is used to strike another and chip flakes off of the latter, these artifacts are indicative of bend break technology. This technique involves bending a stone core to create fractures, which can then be further shaped into tools. However, the most interesting artifact discovered at Topper is what Goodyear calls Big Red. Big Red is a large chert core with clear evidence of percussion marks made by people. Not only can you see where excess material was intentionally detached from the core, but also repeated percussion marks focused on specific areas, suggesting that the individual had difficulty fracturing the stone. One can imagine the frustration of a prehistoric individual rising as they simply can't get a clean break. Big Red was found below the alluvial layer of the previously mentioned pre-Clovis artifacts. Known as the Pleistocene Terrace, the soil that defines this layer was deposited prior to the Ice Age. Radiocarbon dates of 50,000 years ago from charcoal remains have confirmed this, and Big Red was found just adjacent to that charcoal. If this site is accurately dated, then it completely rewrites our understanding of human migrations out of the old world. We know that people made it to Australia by at least 40,000 years ago, but to say that North America was home to human populations 50,000 years ago is an extraordinary claim. That being said, our next and final site not only has drastic implications for the peopling of the Americas, but for human evolution.
You guys see what's going on?
As a whole.
He's turning into Albert Einstein, yo. The Kurudi Mastodon site, 130,000 years ago. Down in Florida, I think.
When most people hear archaeology, it elicits images of Indiana Jones fighting bad guys and searching endlessly for lost treasure. These images, exciting as they may be, couldn't be further from the truth. The early days of archaeology may have resembled such imagery more than the field today, but the days of 19th century adventurers scouring the globe in search of valuable antiquities are largely over. Conducting archaeology in the year 2024 often fails to embody the romanticized visions of cutting your way through jungles, running from territorial natives, and finding ancient spellbound artifacts made of gold. Having dug plenty of holes in and around the northeastern United States, I can attest to this. In fact, the majority of real-life archaeology does not reflect this media-portrayed narrative at all. Avoiding deer ticks, poison ivy, and extremes in weather is about the extent of our chaos. Most of the archaeology performed today would be considered salvage archaeology, meaning that an identified or potential historic or prehistoric resource is under the threat of destruction. Rather than proactively hunting down artifacts, archaeologists often conduct excavations prior to construction projects, or they monitor the project as it progresses to mitigate any adverse effects to these resources. This form of archaeology is only becoming more important as our modern world is becoming more urbanized and industrialized. Massive warehouses are being built on lands inhabited by Native Americans for thousands of years. Large infrastructure projects like interstate highways are being laid atop the remains of some of America's earliest European settlers. Without proper archaeological investigations, this history will be lost forever. The construction of one highway in particular may have uncovered the oldest archaeological site to be discovered in North America. In 1992, Route 54 in San Diego, California was being built when the construction crew came across the bones of a mastodon, a mammoth-like mammal that lived in North America before and during the last ice age. Luckily, archaeologists and paleontologists were monitoring the work and were able to salvage and document the discovery. Now known as the Cerruti Mastodon Site, named after the monitor who found it, Richard Cerruti, it consists of fragmented mastodon bones and teeth, including a tusk suspiciously oriented vertically in the ground.
But
these
there's a
remains
camel on
have
the
been
picture.
dated accurately to 130,000 years ago. The age of these bones is generally not disputed. It is how they broke that's controversial. Alongside these remains was evidence of human activity, such as the 5 large stones that appear to have been used as hammers and anvils. Is there a link between the broken bones and stone tools? The scientists studying this site say yes. In 2017, the official study looking into this connection was published in the journal Nature, one of the most prestigious academic journals. The researchers argue that the percussion marks on the stone hammers and anvil were not caused by natural processes. They say 5 large cobbles in the Cerruti Mastodon bone bed display use wear and impact marks and are hydraulically anomalous relative to the low energy context of the enclosing sandy silt stratum, meaning that within their low impact geological context, these markings do not occur naturally. Critics of the site often claim that the bone fractures could have been caused directly by the construction equipment. However, Cerruti and colleagues argue that these breaks most likely occurred around the time the bones were deposited, 130,000 years ago. And this is based on spiral fractures, which indicate that the breakage occurred while fresh. They sum up their research by saying multiple bone and molar fragments, which show evidence of percussion, together with the presence of an impact notch and attached and detached cone flakes, support the hypothesis that human-induced hammerstone percussion was responsible for the observed breakage. If true, what does this site say about the peopling of North America? It suggests that A, humans left Africa much earlier than the conventional belief of 50 to 100,000 years ago, and Homo sapiens may not have been the first people on the continent. 130,000 years ago, Neanderthals and Denisovans were still wandering the planet. Could one of them beat us Homo sapiens to the Americas? The entire evolutionary trajectory of our species would have to be reinterpreted if North America was inhabited by a non-Homo sapien species first. Archaeology connects us to our shared human heritage. It allows us to walk in the footsteps of those who came before us, to see through their eyes, and to understand their stories. As our techniques and technologies evolve, so too does our understanding of these ancient people, continually reshaping the narrative of human history. But archaeology is not just about the past. It's about our responsibility to preserve and honor these stories for future generations. Each discovery is a reminder of the rich tapestry of human experience and the importance of protecting these priceless connections to our shared heritage. For that reason, it's important we get the story right. It's important to reiterate that none of these sites are totally conclusive. Each site has its share of critiques and doubters. The earlier sites like Meadowcroft Rock Shelter and White Sands and Bluefish Caves are now becoming more mainstream, but Topper and the Cerruti Mastodon site are still hotly debated. In this video, I simply wanted to bring awareness to the fact that science is never settled and that the antiquity of humans in North America may be older than we thought. It is up to each individual to come to their own conclusion by looking at what the evidence has to say. Lastly, to play devil's advocate once more, we must acknowledge that the researchers studying these sites are not hobbyists with a yearning for controversy and seeking the limelight. Most of them are hard-working professors and experts in their fields who are trying to do their job to the best of their abilities and should be taken seriously. I had a blast making this longer form video and hope you guys enjoyed learning about these sites as much as I enjoyed researching them. I definitely feel like I was able to flesh out the ideas a bit more than in my normal videos and even up my production quality a little bit for all of you. So you can expect more videos like this in the future. See you in the next.
Why have no dinosaur fossils been found in New York? Oh, this is a good one.
The digital life. It can get a little weird these days. That's why we built WebRoot's all-in-one protection.
For most of human history, the Americas were the last great unknown. Our species spread across Africa, Europe, Asia, and even reached Australia tens of thousands of years before we made it to the Western Hemisphere. Massive ice sheets blocked people from getting to North America by land. Vast oceans separated South America from the rest of the world. We eventually made it here, but when and how this happened is unclear. For decades, archaeologists believe they had the answer. The first Americans, they said, walked from Siberia into Alaska across a land bridge called Beringia. Then they traveled south through a narrow gap between two giant glaciers to finally enter the new landmass. This became the standard story taught in textbooks for generations. But in recent years, new discoveries have started to challenge this idea, and some researchers have proposed pretty shocking alternatives. One is that the first Americans came from Ice Age Europe, crossing the Atlantic along frozen seas. Others think the...
I never heard that theory before. Came from ancient Europe across the Atlantic?
real answer lies along the Pacific coast, where travelers relied on a very specific set of resources for survival. These are the three main hypotheses most often thrown around. But which one is right? Which one does the evidence support? Let's see for ourselves. Our story begins in 1908, when a sudden cloudburst devastated the small town of Folsom, New Mexico with severe flooding. Water rushed through the streets overnight, destroying homes and businesses and killing at least 17 people. The next day, a cowboy named George McJunkin rode out to inspect the damage along nearby arroyos. McJunkin had an extraordinary life. Born into slavery in Texas in 1851, he later moved to New Mexico after the Civil War and became one of the region's most respected cowboys and horsebreakers. Curious and self-educated, he taught himself how to read and developed a deep interest in science. While riding near Wild Horse Arroyo, McJunkin noticed large fossilized bones eroding from the banks. They were too big to belong to a modern bison. He suspected they were important and spent years trying to get scientists interested. McJunkin died in 1922, before anyone really investigated the site. But in 1927, archaeologists revived interest here. They discovered a spear point embedded among the bones of a bison that was indeed much bigger than any bison today. Before this discovery, it was believed that people were only in the Americas for a few thousand years. But because this point was found in association with the extinct bison antiquus, it was the first piece of evidence that humans lived in North America over 11,000 years ago. The point they found was a Folsom point. These are small, thin stone spear points with a long, leaf-shaped outline that tapers to a sharp tip. Its edges are usually straight or slightly curved, and the base is concave, forming two small corners. Its most distinctive feature is a long flute, or channel flake, removed from both sides of the point, and it runs from the base toward the tip. They were expertly made with fine pressure flaking, and were used by the hunters of the Folsom culture, who specialized in hunting extinct bison on the Great Plains. But an even older stone tool was awaiting discovery. 2 years later, 19-year-old Ridgely Whiteman discovered another important site at Blackwater Draw near Clovis, New Mexico. Here, he found a similar stone point, which led to full excavations of the site between 1932 and 1937. The investigations uncovered more fluted spear points, but these were generally bigger, with flutes that stopped halfway up the point. Not only were they found below Folsom points, in deeper layers of soil, but also alongside mammoth bones. These are now known as Clovis points, and they extend even further into prehistory. They confirmed what Folsom was nudging toward, that people lived in the Americas during the end of the Pleistocene. In the following decades, Clovis first became the scientific consensus. The theory proposed that the earliest people in the Americas were members of this Clovis culture, who arrived sometime around 13,000 years ago. According to this model, these early nomadic megafauna hunters migrated from Siberia into Alaska across the Bering Strait. And this was a land bridge that existed when sea levels were almost 130 meters lower during the last ice age. They then spread rapidly, which we can see by the presence of Clovis sites from coast to coast.
There's a war. You can see there's a war on the East Coast. You can see all the Clovis points and all the spear tips and arrowheads that they find.
Archaeologist C. Vance Haynes became one of the biggest proponents of this idea, arguing that soil deposits underlying Clovis are without evidence of human occupation. Over the years, a few questions remained. When did Clovis people arrive in the Americas, and how did they get here? This is where problems start to arise, and where archaeology must take geology into account. During the last glacial maximum, roughly 26,000 to 19,000 years ago, two enormous ice sheets covered much of North America. The Laurentide ice sheet extended from eastern Canada and into the northern United States, while the Cordilleran ice sheet covered the mountains of western Canada. At their peak, these glaciers merged across the Canadian plains, forming a continuous barrier of ice, stretching from the Atlantic to the Pacific. In many places, the glaciers were thousands of meters thick. This would have been a formidable barrier for anyone trying to migrate south from Beringia at the time, but eventually a pathway opened. As the climate warmed and glaciers began to retreat, the two ice sheets gradually separated. The ice-free corridor was born, and many believe it could be the key to explaining how Clovis people reached America. Geological evidence suggests that this separation began around 15,000 years ago, creating a long corridor of ice-free land. Researchers have used a method of dating called cosmogenic dating on glacial boulders to measure how long they've been exposed to the Earth's surface. In a chain of rocks transported by glaciers into the foothills erratics train in Canada, this dating shows that the boulders have been exposed.
Those got there by glaciers? Is that what they're saying now? No, I'm just kidding.
For about 14,900 years. Luminescence dating of wind-blown sand deposits across Western Canada indicates that large areas of land were already exposed by roughly 14,500 years ago. This means that some form of a passable corridor likely existed before or during the time the Clovis culture appeared. But passable doesn't mean habitable. People would have needed more than just boulders and sediment to sustain themselves across this journey. We need evidence of life. Poplar wood from a lake in northwestern Alberta has been dated to about 13,500 years ago, which now shows that parts of the corridor were already developing ecosystems capable of supporting animals and humans. Another problem, though, is bodies of water. Critics have argued that glacial lakes may have blocked the corridor, or at least interrupted contiguous stretches of land. Yet, multiple lines of evidence indicate that major glacial lake.
I'm getting tired, guys. It was a good day today. I'm working on not trying to get so angry all the time, yo. Trying to work on my anger management. I just got that warrior blood flowing through my veins, yo. I can't tolerate disrespect from nobody. Especially a scrub, yo. It's like the audacity, you know? But I lose aura when I do that. I'm making them my equal. They're punching up, and I'm letting it bother me, you know? I need to stop letting these scrubs get to me, yo. Because literally, we're not even in the same league. But yeah, it's just annoying. Imagine waking up every day to fucking AI and fucking memes and fucking hate and death threats and fucking, yeah, yo, it gets annoying, yo. And you know what? It's just making me a stronger person because of it. It's making me a better person. They're making me more famous. You know, I got nerves of steel now. I got fucking some thick ass skin, yo. Can deal with some fucking hate, yo. Some hate. Probably will deal with it the rest of my life, but that's what I get for being fucking awesome. But yo, I'll catch y'all later, alright? Thanks to everybody that sent gifts tonight. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. I hope you guys have some good dreams tonight. I hope you guys reach your goals today. Go ahead and donate to the Cash App. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Alright, guys? Eskunge. Until we meet again. Peace.